Hey friends, and welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday on the swing. Get used to Wellness Wednesdays on the swing because as long as the weather is nice, I will probably be on the swing. So what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit more of what I started talking about last week about getting back on into a leaner season and how I seem to have found myself in a pattern of lean and plenty seasons. I think I like those words better than like feast and famine. Lean and plenty, I think that works. But it has been a whole week now and I have not started my lean season yet, like I had talked about. I had said that I might start right after my birthday, which was the 28th. Today is May 4th, which is actually Levi's birthday. That's very exciting. He and Dad are going out for a birthday day. They're going to get some lunch and then we'll celebrate with his birthday dessert this evening with the family. So they're having a fabulous time. Cannot believe he's 4 years old. I do have a Levi birth video. I put in the title G-rated because it is G-rated. I made sure of that. If anybody is interested in taking a trip down memory lane about Levi's birth, I will put the link to that video up in the cards. Anyways, so that's our special day today. So I did not start my lean days after my birthday like I thought I might. I still hadn't decided last week when I was talking to you. And we just have been so busy. It has been the busiest week. And you probably can tell by how many videos I got out this past week. Just a couple when I usually get 4, sometimes 5 in a week. And so it has just been a busy week. I feel like I've had to go places every single day and just driving constantly. And I'm looking forward to a time actually where I don't have to drive quite so much. We finished up with our homeschool group for the school year. And so I don't have that. And then Autumn is going on vacation with my mom to Texas this next week for like a week and a half. So I'm not going to have to take her to work. And then by the time she gets home from that trip, she should have her driver's license and hopefully her car that she's getting given by a friend, but it needs work and needs new tires. So she's getting the car for the cost of those repairs. So hopefully that'll be done and I will be able to wash my hands of taking her to work like 4 or 5 days a week, which will be so nice. So I'm looking forward to a time that's not quite so busy, but this last week was not it yet. So I did not start my lean days. I am planning to start tomorrow and do a lean day tomorrow and see how it goes. I'm kind of excited about it. Every time I go through a plenty season or a celebration season, it's always kind of exciting to jump back. Not exciting, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's refreshing to jump back into a leaner season. And there's some really fun recipes that I've been seeing come up, especially from Lindsay Murphy, that are like PSMF style lean recipes. And I want to do a video where I do several of those and try them out and share it with you guys. But I'm excited for some different recipes, some leaner recipes. Sometimes that can just be really refreshing. I've got my supermodel wind that just started, so that's wonderful. So now I want to talk a little bit more about something I talked about last week. I talked last week about not being in a hurry to make diet changes. And how since I've worked through a lot of my body image issues, I don't have that, life or death type reaction when I see myself going in the wrong direction as far as gaining weight, or if I'm eating things that are not exactly what is the most optimal for me to eat. Before it would be like almost like a fight or flight type response. Like it was so important to me to not let things get out of control that I had to like take back control really, really fast. And so I talked a lot about the body image side of that last week, but after I made that video and as I've been thinking about it, I also want to highlight that the difference in the way that I have lost weight this last time has made a huge difference in allowing me to be slow to make any kind of diet change. So what I mean by that is before, when I was doing any kind of, really restrictive diet where I wasn't listening to my body as clearly as I should have been. And I was pushing my body beyond what it wanted to do. Like I've talked about a lot of times, my SHMEC being out of check. And SHMEC is sleep, mood, hunger, energy. Sleep, hunger, mood, energy, and cravings, SHMEC. And I didn't have that in my mind before, that I needed to keep those things in line. It was like, if I was hungry, I just needed to push through the hunger. Anyways, I've totally changed my view on that. And so now I see, if I'm losing weight with my hunger and my energy and my cravings and all that being out of control, I know that it's not a sustainable type of weight loss. So what I would do is I'd push myself to lose weight, no pain, no gain. I did all the things that you hear on Instagram. You just have to want it hard enough and all of those things, the fitspiration. And I did all of those things. And then it's like hanging on to the side of a cliff. You can do it for a while, but eventually, at least for me, I fall. And so I would fall and start eating because I'm totally hormonally messed up. My body is craving and hungry and needing something that it's not getting. And the way it responds to that is by stimulating you to eat, to get that thing that you're not getting. And so there was so much of that cycle of my body would be so out of control hormonally that when I did lose control, which was inevitable, my body would be primed to gain weight. So the weight would come on so fast. I remember just it being so mind-boggling how I could gain 10 pounds in a week. And everybody says, oh, it's just water weight. Well, for me, that 10 pounds didn't come off. If I didn't make some very drastic changes, that 10 pounds of water weight turned into fat weight very, very fast. So I couldn't just, chalk it up to water weight and then move on with my day. It was like, no. This is real weight. Even if, that week I couldn't have gained 10 pounds of fat, it's like my body was getting ready to gain that 10 pounds of fat unless I made some drastic changes. So because of the way that I lost weight this last time, and the way that I lost weight this last time was not staying in a sustained calorie deficit. I was very careful to never go more than one lean day in a row. If I had a lean day, I would always have at least one regular baseline moderate fat diet day after that, sometimes more than one, depending on what schedule I was doing. So I didn't stay in a calorie deficit state for long term. I would have those breaks, and I feel like that's so important. I also was really, really careful to listen to my SHMEC. If I wasn't able to sleep at night, if my mood was off, if my hunger and cravings started to go through the roof beyond just like an adaptation period, I would know that something I was doing was not working. And if I continued to push my body to through that and continue to lose weight, I just know for myself that weight loss will not stay off. And so I was really, really careful to listen and to make adjustments as I went along and not allow myself to be hungry. I do get questions sometimes about what I mean by eating to hunger on lean days. And it's a little bit tricky because it's not like I eat to Thanksgiving stuffed on a lean day. It's not like I am sitting there thinking I can't eat another bite. I just make sure I don't let myself go hungry. And then also on a lean day, it's like I'll look at other foods, especially fatty foods, butter or chicken wings or, burgers or whatever, or bacon, and be like, that looks really good. I would really like to eat that right now. Eat to hunger does not mean on a lean day that I eat whatever I want just to hunger. Eating to hunger on a lean day is eating as much of the lean foods as I need to be satisfied and to get rid of my hunger. I won't say that I never think about food or I never wish I was eating something else. It's just not like that. I just don't let myself be hungry. And if I'm really, really craving something, that's kind of a sign to me that maybe I shouldn't be on a lean day, first of all. But all those things still always sound good. It's not like I'm like, oh, I couldn't even look at bacon. I feel so stuffed. It's not like that. But the key for me does seem to be just not letting my body be physically hungry, eating until I'm satisfied. And I have gotten some criticism before from some people, not even on YouTube, about how it seems like I and other people in this diet world are looking for an extravagant diet, or I don't know if extravagant is the right word, but just trying to give the feeling of feasting while being on a diet. And they say things like, if you need to lose weight and you need a diet, just tough through it. Just be hungry. Like that's the point. You shouldn't have to feel like you're feasting all the time, like trick yourself into thinking you're feasting. And while I do agree with the sentiment of that in one sense, I also very much disagree with that in a hormonal sense. Because what I have found, like I said, is if I just tough my way through hunger and cravings and push my body, into this starvation state, which obviously does cause weight loss. We know that from concentration camps and other starvation experiments. But what we also know is that kind of weight loss, when you're working against your hormones, typically is the kind of weight loss that doesn't stay. And so I, from quite a while back, decided that if I'm ever going to lose weight, I have to do it in a way that I'm not hungry. Again, not that I always eat all the things that I think sound good in the moment. I just mean that physically my hunger needs are met. And there's some connection with hormones. There's hunger hormones. And I'm not the one to get into all the science of this. I just speak from my own personal experience and like how I have noticed that this affects me in real life with the way that I actually eat. So for me, if I want to try to lose weight in a way that's going to be sustainable, where my body is going to want to stay at that lower weight, I have to do it in a way that allows me to not just push through hunger. And there are a lot of different tweaks and things that you can do to get your body to do that. And not everybody is the same. Some people can transition into like a intermittent fasting type diet, or 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day, and they train their body to eat that way, and they don't actually feel hungry during the fast, and they're able to eat to satiety at other times, and it keeps their hormones very happy. I was wishing I was one of those people a few years ago when I tried intermittent fasting really seriously, and I just found that I was not one of those people, at least at that time. I would just be starving all the time, and it was like clearly my body hormonally was working against that method. What I ended up finding that worked for me so well is incorporating leaner days, like I talked about, and keeping my protein up very high. That allows me to not feel hunger. It keeps all of my hunger hormones happy so that I can have a lower calorie amount overall, but I don't get that effect, that starvation effect of, doing it through being hungry. I also found that eating egg white bread and things like my carnivore crepes that are mostly egg whites, very low fat, very high in protein, but they have like a lot of substance. Those are another thing that if I incorporate those into my diet, it's like I can eat less with the same amount of satiety. And so it ends up that my calories can be lower overall, but I'm not experiencing the hunger, and in conjunction with that, the messing up of the hormones from the hunger when I incorporate foods like that. And it's different eating things like the egg white bread versus, for me, eating scrambled egg whites. Like when I first started playing with lean proteins and stuff and leaner days and leaner meals, I would eat like a bowl of scrambled egg whites, which is disgusting to me personally, by the way. And I would be hungry like in 15 minutes. Like it did not hold me. It didn't satisfy my hunger. But I can eat egg white bread and it satisfies my hunger. Now, I do have to be careful, which is interesting, with the egg white bread on regular days, because especially like if I'm working on a recipe and I just, have my head down and I'm baking and I'm tasting, I'll just be eating egg white bread all day. And if it's not supposed to be a lean day, if I need to have a day where I'm having higher calories and higher fat, I can very easily undereat. But I have found it to be such an incredibly helpful tool on the days where I choose to have a lean day to keep my calories at that lower amount while also keeping my hunger hormones happy. So all that being said, what I really want to communicate is when I talked last week about not being in a hurry to jump on something to lose this little weight creep that I've had, it doesn't only have to do with the fact that I have worked through my body image issues. It also has to do with the fact that my body is in a completely different state now after the weight loss I've had in the last 6 months or so than it was in the past. And in the past, I did feel like I needed to do something extremely quickly because the weight was coming back on so fast and it was scary. And that's just because of my hormones. That's because of the state that I was in, because of what I had done or how I had tried to lose the weight. So I just thought that that was an important thing to communicate after what I talked about last week, that there are different states that you can be in after weight loss that may not be conducive to being slow and to being patient with dealing with weight regain. And that is why I talk about schmeck so much and why I talk about listening to your body and really taking the time to think through things and assess how you're doing and where you're at before you make any kinds of, weight loss goals. Being able to be in this place where I don't feel like my body is revolting against me and that I have to do something to keep it under control feels really, really good. And I will never attempt to lose weight any other way. I did want to mention here right at the end that Steve from Serious Keto had me on his channel. We recorded yesterday for a video podcast interview for his Not So Serious podcast. And it was so fun to chat with him. I feel like he's a kindred spirit with recipe creation and the way that he is very methodical about, putting things together and figuring out the best way to put together a recipe. And just our approach to YouTube and all of that, very similar. So it was a really fun time to chat with him. I think he said that the video will be coming out this Monday, so you can look forward to that. I'm looking forward to sharing that with all of you guys. And I'm going to leave that here. I hope you guys are doing great, and I will see you again in another video.